Alright, new Overlord patch notes. We'll be taking a look at, everything coming up with this new collab. All the new characters, by the way, before you ask, are good. So TLDR, if you don't want to hear about each one individually, they are good. And if you, don't want to, I guess, save for the end of year banners, and you don't mind summoning for a collab because you like the IP, or you just like having all the characters, like the exclusivity, I would pull for the banner because the character is actually good. So that would be my take on the matter if you're interested. If you want to take a look at their gameplay though, I'm not going to be covering this video because I already did on the other one. So check that one out instead. Alright, let's take a look first at, let's go here. Alright, let's take a look first at the banner. So the banner is always bad, but this one is not too bad because Camilla is in here and she's a character that's a little less common. So I would say that as a not too bad banner. Obviously the rest of the characters are pretty trash. I say trash, obviously Red Tarmiel is great, Nanashi is great, but those are very old characters. The likelihood is that majority of you have them max duped. If you don't though, great pickups, but Green Odossia is garbage, good for box CC, I guess. When I say a character is good for box CC, yeah, that's not a very big compliment, but Camilla is actually good for guild boss, so can't knock on her for that. It's a 600 banner, and there's also going to be a guaranteed banner for money only. Also, I think there's 2 free multis. Let me actually take a look. Login. I'm just gonna take a look at all of these. Yeah, first 2 days. Wow, in the first 2 days of login, you already get one of the multis. That's not bad. Usually they make you log in for like the whole 14 days, right? And then the missions give you another multi. You can knock out the 2 free multis in the first 2 days. That's pretty good. Cocytus is the free character, and like I mentioned in the other video, I will say it like that because I'm pretty sure how they say in the dub, and I don't care. I'm just gonna say it like that. I guess you get... Oh, you get another... Oh, it's 3 multis. Okay, you get another multi from Labyrinth. As you can see, there's new Labyrinth. I'm gonna assume this new Labyrinth is going to be easy, by the way, because the Labyrinth we had for the other collab last year, wow, that was a year ago, was very easy. So I'm assuming they're gonna do the same sort of deal. Oh, these are bundles, okay. So those are 3 free multis plus gems. So if you're gonna use the gems as well, then there is that. All right, let's take a look at Ainz. I'm gonna be using the translations from, it's a little misformatted here, Kane here. So shout outs. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit actually. Oh, this is just awful. I'm gonna zoom in on the video itself. All right. For every unknown ally participating in battle, increases units' basic stats by 10%. Pretty standard for unknown basic stat stuff. When an unknown ally damages an enemy, apply a death mark to the enemy. When the unit damages an enemy with a single target skill that has 4 stacks of death mark in PvP, apply 1 death pronouncement that activates after 1 turn. And death pronouncement, as you can see right there, is at the end of the turn, they die. Apply damage by 100% of the unit's max HP. This is literally, they just, get pronounced dead. Death Mark, which is what he applies, decreases damage dealt by attacks and AoE ultimates scaled with ultimate level. So this scaled with ultimate level is what I want to take a look right here. So, okay. At 6/6, you're lowering all enemy damage. Is it all enemy damage? Let me take a look at it again. So, it is damage dealt by attacks and AoE ultimates. So, single target ultimates are not included. But let's be real. This is like the attacks is what matters, right? You are lowering all enemy damage pretty much by 7% per stack, and it's infinite stacks. There's no timer on these stacks, and it's a gray debuff. There's no removing of the debuffs either. So it's a very strong ability at 6/6. Now at 1/6 up to 3/6 is only 2%. Way less impactful, because when you look at it, right, let's see, you're only realistically going to be stacking 4 of these, right? Because if you attack them again, they get the death pronouncement. So at 4 stacks, you're looking at only 8% damage reduction at 1/6. 28% damage reduction at 6/6. It's a huge jump. On top of, you know, the other stuff with Albedo, and we'll be taking a look at that later. His relic, for every debuff applied to the enemy, increases allies' basic stats by 3% up to 5 times. Again, unknown, has to have a form of basic stat increase somewhere. There it is. His first skill does more damage per one of these marks. I'm assuming he is going to have the same multipliers as Estarossa. Oh, it doesn't show here. Hold on. Skill true. It's an AoE attack-related stat lower, just like Valenti. So now this is where again his ultimate, right? Inflicts declaration, which it doesn't say here, but it's just a single target ultimate. Single target ultimates are, I'm gonna assume declaration. Yeah. It's the same thing as the attacks. The attack I just read. Declaration is the same thing as the attack. It's kind of like the same thing as Naofumi does, where his ultimate is a single target, does the same thing as his attack skill. Now, yeah, like I mentioned, this is the thing that's going to be lowering the enemy damage, is the ultimate. And if you have low ultimate level, it's going to be lowering less than if you have high ultimate level, so it makes it extremely pay to win. Moving on to Albedo. I'm going to go out and say this. Albedo is the best unit from this collab. I know I shouldn't judge before actually using the characters, and I might change my mind once the collab actually drops. But looking at what she does, you cannot tell me that she's not the best character from this collab. So, let's at the start of turn, apply absolute defense. Now, this is wrong. Absolute defense is not reduced damage taken by 50%. Absolute defense is you taunt and you take 50% less damage. So Albedo has 100% uptime taunt. It's not removable either. It's gray. So think about any and every demonic beast that has single target skills, and you're gonna be using Albedo on an unknown team because she works in PvE, right? Like a lot of the stuff, like everything that she does here works in PvE. I'm just reading, you know, it again. Everything she does works in PvE. Like, you're not going to be applying the damage increase, but the attack related, like, you're going to be applying attack related stats because you're attacking. Like, it's just, she's going to be such an insane character for PvP and PvE. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So it's a start turn, and it applies for one turn, but at the start of the next turn, it applies again. It's infinite, like she always has it. When the unit is assuming a stance, increases unit's basic stats by 20%, and when the unit is attacked at enemy turn, apply buff that increases attack-related stats by 10% for 3 turns, max 5 stacks. Very important because her stance has Amplify. So you can see right here. Skill to assume stance that has Amplify. I'm telling you, like, her counters are going to be so insane for demonic beasts. So insane. And, you know, any future PvE activities, like, unless the boss specifically removes stances, I can't imagine, like, it not being stupid for, like, PvE activities. So, also PvP, but I'm just thinking right now. And when the unit is not damaged, apply a debuff that increases damage taken by 40% to all enemies for 1 turn. Again, you attack her, she gets an attack buff, and she counters you with an Amplify taunt. And then if you don't attack her, all of your units get 40% damage increase debuff. When the unit's stance effect is removed, I'm assuming this is by timer, so you know the stance just be removed naturally, or by someone removing it with a stance removal card, It's not specified, but I believe there's been characters like that where, you know, that has happened in timer, just removing it naturally, just, you know, the stance coming out of the character by timer works like that. Applies a buff that increases attack-related stats by 20% for 2 turns to unknown allies, and for every unknown ally in the battlefield, increases her basic stats by 7%. I think she's the best character from this collab. I know Ainz is supposed to be the main character, but bro, look at what she's doing, and tell me she's not the best character. Holy Relic, for every buff applied to the unit, decreases damage taken by 8%. So she's lowering damage by 50%. She can max stack an extra 40% damage reduction on top of the 50%. And if you're using Ainz, you're lowering their damage. How do you kill her? Skill 1 inflicts damage up to 450, single target, and apply a debuff that decreases damage dealt by up to 80%. This is level 3. We can't really see what the level 1 looks like, but I'm going to assume, because I don't think we have this card. If we have this card in the game, I'm sorry, I don't recall ever seeing this card like lower damage up to 80% single target. If this card is in the game, this debuff, I don't remember, so you gotta correct me in the comments. But I'm going to assume level 1 is either 45 or 30%. It's gonna be like something like much lower. Skill 2, again, assume stance and taunts the enemy. I don't know why she has that since she already taunts, but whatever. And inflicts amplify damage by 450 when attacked for 2 turns. I'm going to assume at level 1, the stance only lasts 1 turn. And it should be like maybe like 180 to 200% multiplier. Her ult applies a buff, increases crit chance by 50%, crit damage by 130, and for 2 turns, it inflicts suppress damage by 500% to all enemies. I don't know what suppresses. Might be a skill I forgot from another character. Very insane character. I'm not, like, just a very insane character. So let me actually take a look here. So her ultimate, yeah, if you're only level 1, the critical chance increase is only 5%, and the critical damage increase, oh, it's 60, yeah. So, oh, I'll take a break to drink water real quick. When they release 4 new characters with such, you know, complex passives is a lot of reading. So for Shaltiar, she is also pretty good. She gets a little overshadowed, I think, by how stupid Albedo is. But Shelter is also pretty good. For every unknown in the battlefield, increases basic stats by 7. When the unit damages an enemy, applies a buff that increases HP related stats by 7%, up to 3 stacks. And at the start of ally's turn, if the unit has 3 stacks of the buff, applies Frenzy, which is increases attack related stats by 50% and reduces defense related stats by 30. So it is like a massive buff, 50% attack related stats, but you gotta make sure that you don't get one-shotted by the minus 30% defense related stats. And also regenerate 40% of max HP when the buff is removed. It's only for 1 turn as well. When the unit damages an enemy with AoE skill, apply Bleed for 2 turns. It's always not, so Bleed is a kind of a meme debuff because Bleed cards kind of suck. Bleed as a debuff is not bad. When you look at what Bleed does, it's an extra, was it 90% extra damage? Like, in theory, Bleed should be good. It's just Bleed cards are bad, right? And Bleed cards have very low multipliers, so you're doing an extra 90% damage of nothing. Especially because of how defense-related stats work in this game. If you have a low multiplier card, you're going to be doing so much less. Like, for example, let's say you have a 300% and a 450, right? Obviously, the 450 is going to do more. But let's not 300, right? Let's say, for example, you have a 300 and you have a 150. And the 150 has Bleed. The 300 does exponentially more damage because of defense-related stats. Just for an example, right? All right. Skill 1. Oh, sorry, that doesn't go for the Holy Relic. When the unit damages an enemy with Bleed, heals allies by 30% of damage dealt. Skill 1 doubles damage to the enemy that has Bleed and does double crit damage. Skill 2 is, in fact, pretty straightforward. I think that they definitely want you to use all 3 characters together, but I can definitely see, like, you ditching Shaltiar and just using like Tyr or like I don't know, like she's definitely not bad. It's just I'm reading here again, right? She doesn't buff basic stats. Like, why would I use her over the new Merlin or even Freyr? But I don't know. Maybe she's that good. Infact is good. That's for sure. Opening up with Infact, very, very good. So that's definitely something. And then the ultimate applies a buff that increases all stats by 30 for 2 turns and inflicts damage by 600 to all enemies and life steals. She's definitely the worst of the 3, for sure. Whatever, right? But that's mainly because the other 2 characters are very crazy. I don't know, man. When I look at Albedo, I'm like, bro, this is a festival character. This is a festival character. She's like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't hype her up too much before she actually is in the game when I use her. But looking at her kit, I think this is like when Tyr was like announced, and we're like, is this character what we think it is? Like, he looks a little too insane. And then he drops in the game and he is a little too insane. That's what I think this Albedo is. It's just good too. It just gets a little overshadowed as well, I feel like. And then my brother Kokaitis does not work in Demonic Beast. Does not work in PvP. Whoa, free characters be like that. But he's a free unit, and he's actually very, very good. Let me zoom out a little bit. So his passive in PvE, when he uses a skill, I think the way I see him is like, I compare him to Kizuna, right? Kizuna is still used. Like, she's still very good. When he uses a skill and damages the enemy, removes all debuffs to the allies, and for every debuff removed, apply a buff that increases max HP by 8% for 3 turns. If only his passive worked in Demonic Beast, this would be so insane to use with Albedo. Imagine her Amplify counter, max stacks on her, then you have him giving her more buffs. That would be pretty crazy. Holy Relic in PvE, when the unit uses a skill, applies a buff to all allies that increases all stats by 10% for 2 turns. I should take a look at the gameplay again. I'm not sure if it stacks. I'm going to assume it does stack, because it's only 2 turns. I don't think they would have made it so it doesn't stack. First skill is Amplify, second skill is Detonate, and then the ultimate gives him 50% basic stats AoE. So you ult with him, you get, more Amplify. I think he's going to be a great PvE character, and honestly, as far as like free units go, I'm much more pleased with the direction they took for this character than the last free character, freaking the girl from Jobless. I don't know her name. That character was garbage in terms of design. She was actually pretty good when you got to use her with Rudius, but if you didn't have Rudius, she was dog shit. But this character doesn't depend on any of the other characters that are on the banner, so much better design as a free character. Characters that depend on others aren't inherently bad. I think, like, for example, Naofumi and Raftalia. Raftalia is not a bad character. Like, she's kind of like, she wants to be with Naofumi, but she can be used without him. But she pretty much wanted to be with Naofumi, and that doesn't make her bad. But a free character, I think so, because if you're not pulling for the banner because you want to save for a festival, but the free character is nice, right? Then it's inherently, useless to you. In terms of the characters alone, I think this is a great collab. I'll come out and say it. I'm not afraid to say it. So, of course, just like any collab, if you pull dupes, let's say, for example, you pull 17 Shaltiars, you can, exchange them for Eins if need be. There's bundles, there's always bundles. You can, if you're a paid player, I would recommend this, guaranteed collab character bundle is very, very good. Also, a weekly thing, it's pretty good. Again, this is the login bonus, where we'll be getting the extra tickets and some gems, and again, another free multi. if you are skipping the banner for, you know, end of year festivals, I don't blame you, because we know, like, end of year festivals are going to be crazy, right? Like, there's no doubt about it. But for, you know, for you that you might be thinking of skipping, these tickets are very, very nice, right? It's free multis. Might pull one of the characters. If you pull Albedo, it's like huge. There's a new boss. You know, these it's not even like hell. It's like extreme, so it's gonna be very, very easy. You're probably gonna auto it. And you can get a free outfit for Ainz here. It's just gonna get relic. So I guess I won't. We already talked about the labyrinth. I won't jump the gun too much, but oh, they're bringing back. So this should be on Sunday, not actually as soon as the collab drops, but they're bringing back the Chaos game mode, which is pretty cool. We'll see how that goes this time around. I'm pretty excited to try it. These are the outfits. They actually have pictures of the outfits now. Oh, this outfit is crazy. Damn. The Albedo outfits are pretty crazy. The Albedo outfits are pretty crazy. There's the Shelter outfits, and then my boy Kokaida's outfits. These outfits are pretty cool too. He kind of looks like a mech with like the last one and stuff. Alright. So this is the one thing people were very concerned about. I saw there was a, I don't know if I want to say a leak, but there was this picture floating around. People were like very screaming at the top of their lungs, like, oh my god, you have to spend 900 gems to get one of the relics. This is insane. Let's cancel the game. This is an extra relic. So they're dropping 5 relics this time around. 4 you can just get by playing the events and stuff. Like, choose from bingo. One's from the Annihilation Clear. So the new boss, right? One is from something else, I don't know. But this is from here. So if, for example, you have a character from a different collab that you don't have a relic for, but you're summoning for this collab, then sick, you can get it. But if you're not even summoning for this collab, then you don't even care about this because you're already getting 4 for free. So you can swap to these characters to be your login bonus, and I imagine 99% of the population of this game is going to put Albedo. King Exchange. You can now exchange LR coins for these, which is good because now with how long your arena takes, you can actually get 100 coins. And then freaking Labyrinth comes out and you can get another 20. So that's pretty good. Random like buff stuff that's usual for new patches. Hawk Pass has a new Hell outfit. Whatever. And I believe that is it. Alright. As far as collabs, I believe this is by far and away the best we've had this year. It's nothing ordinary. Like, let me be like straightforward, right? It's nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to collabs, right? We're getting the same stuff we usually get, and you know, that's fine. It's nothing imaginative per se. It's nothing out of the norm, but I think that's fine. You know, that's how collabs usually are. There's no like crazy innovation of an event or anything, but that doesn't matter. They have a dev note. I guess I'll pull up the dev notes as well. Addressing that, by the way. Can I just go down here? They have a dev notes. Should be right here. Yep. And they talk about the new PvE content, which they've been announcing and we've leaked, right, already. There's going to be a new PvE activity where you fight all the beasts back to back to back. Or not all the beasts, but at the very least, the 3 first beasts, so dogs, bird, and deer, right? We're going to be facing all 3 of those beasts back to back to back at floor 3. So it's going to be a pretty interesting like activity, and they've announced it already a long time ago, and it still hasn't come out. But you know, leave those activities to be that. I'm not gonna be reading through these dev notes. If you want to pause and read, then do that, because I'll be honest, man. Dev notes, they yap and then nothing comes out of it really. It's either like stuff like this, like, oh, about new collaboration. Like we just talked in extent about this in the patch notes, right? Like they've been yapping about the new PvE content for like months. So it doesn't really matter. When it comes out, right? So that's about it.